Some people are artists. Some themselves are an art. Here is a man who is both an artist and an art.
CAP Sandip Sabapati is a chartered accountant, a farmer, a teacher, TEDx speaker, and the most sought after orator. We, the students, know him as the man who made orientation fun, pushing us past our comfort zone by making us run.
Well, he also runs. He runs a mentorship program specialized for CA students and a personality training program where he has trained over lakh students, executives and professionals. The notable alumni in this stadium includes CA Lakshmanan Arasu and CA Malan Bharati.
Everyone's favorite Sandip sir is now a co-opted member of ICITSS and AICITSS Coordination Committee of the SIRC of ICAI for the year 2024-25.
For those of you who are curious, he is the member of a committee of ICAI which draft the syllabus for orientation and GMCS.
Every year, this person adds more to his profile, leaving us in awe, seated here as a testimony to lead by example.
Fear of public speaking is rated next to fear of death. But in a while, we are going to witness the magnificence which is going to take away our breath.
Dear Gen Z, listen closely, for this session is all about us, for us, covering the themes chosen by us. Without any further ado, we request the Sikasa volunteer to felicitate our session coordinator.
We now request the session coordinator to felicitate the speaker. Thank you, sir. With delight and pleasure, we call upon our session coordinator to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning. That's the energy for this session. Good morning. Pattala nethu culturals la vanda satham. Good morning. Life revolves around perspectives. We can say this is day 2 of the conference, or we can also say this is day 1 of the conference, which is running as per the agenda decided. The topic Gen Z revolves around this perspective. The Gen Zs is the first to many, and the Gen Zs are the last to too many. In the name of modernization, in the Gen Z era, a lot of essential elements that are missed in our life. And these elements are the essential elements which makes us and remains us human with humanity. Is this talk going to be about personal life, or is this talk going to be about professional life? This talk from the modern Zen master here is going to be the answers to your questions. This talk is much related to the theme of the conference, Sangamam. Now, speaking about Sangamam, the topic of your questions with the Zen master's answers, it gets Sangamam. There is always a saying that a river looks silent. There is always a saying that river looks silent where it gets Sangamam with another river. But at the same time, the undercurrent is very strong at the place of Sangamam. The question which you asked may have looked very simple and calm to you, but each topic on which the speaker is going to address have a strong undercurrent to pull the life of Gen Zs with this perspective they take. Here's a man who tells you how to deal with those undercurrent. Without any further delay, I call upon the person whose speeches can make life look too special to live ordinarily, whose speeches can make us to tap dance to work, and whose speeches can make us to create a blockbuster and live a fairy tale. After staying for culturals last night, I am still in a hangover and in confusion of whether we had culturals in our conference or we had conference inside our culturals. To clear the doubt, I hand over the stage to my dear brother. The stage is all yours, my brother. Thank you.
Good morning. Am I audible? Cool. First things first, I'd like to thank the Sikasa chairman, CA, Thangavel sir for this opportunity. And if at all you like the slides that are placed here, most of the credit goes to the coolest Gen Z I know, CA student Srinidhi Vinod. Thank you, Srinidhi. Dear Gen Z, I've never been so confused before. A few days ago, my dear brother CA Malan Bharati gave me a profound advice. Sir, try to understand the Gen Z better so that you can give them what they really need, he said. So I messaged a student friend of mine saying, hey, I have this talk titled Dear Gen Z, and I would like your help for the same. And she replied, sir, stop kidding. Your speech is anyway going to be savage. I was deeply hurt, but I reconfirmed, and my Oxford Dictionary also said, savage means aggressive and violent, causing great harm. So I replied, what do you mean? And she replied, I mean, you are a goat. Now I was both hurt and angry. I reconfirmed, and my dictionary said, goat is an animal with horns and a coat of hair, which lives wild on the mountains or is kept in a farm for milk or meat. And beneath that, there was another term, old goat. That is even worse. Old goat is an unpleasant old man who is annoying in a sexual way. I was now hurt, angry, and confused. I stayed awake the whole night wondering whether, according to her, I was the young goat or the old goat. So first thing in the morning, I sent her a message. What did you really mean? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And this time, she abused me with a word that wasn't even in my dictionary. YK. Clearly, messaging isn't working, I told myself, and I called her straight. For the benefit of fellow outdated Homo sapiens like me, apparently, according to the Gen Z dictionary, savage means extremely bold and cool. Goat means greatest of all times. Gen Z means Homo sapiens who consider using capital fonts, punctuations, and grammar a total waste of their time and talent. The best of the lot is YK. It is the most profound philosophy ever conceived by a human brain. It means if you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you don't know Malan Bharati, obviously you don't know. What a beautiful philosophy. Dear Gen Z, I've never been so confused in life. The psychologist that I am, I decided that it is better to learn about the Gen Z by observing than by conversing. So I began observing the Gen Z of our MC team. And I witnessed this conversation. Are there any changes in our script, bro? Yes, bro, so many changes. Now, this was a very normal conversation until I realized that the two people having this conversation weren't Gokul and Kameshwaran. It was Pavitra and Sriniti Nandakumar. Apparently, they are not sisters or sis anymore. They are bros. Dear Gen Z, I've never been so confused in life. Malan Bharati, now that they are bros, I am safely assuming that we are cis. So, thank you, sis, for that savage introduction. And as for my immense love and respect for you, YK. Dear Gen Z, Despite all my confusion, I'm absolutely clear about one thing. The 4 paradigm shifts that I'm going to share with you today will help you live life in a more deep, meaningful, and mindful manner. Would you like to know about the same? Say yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So here goes the first paradigm shift. Shift from thinking your life becomes your story to understanding that your story becomes your life. These 2 brothers that you see on the screen are called the Menendez brothers. The elder one, Lyle Menendez, had floated a company named Menendez Investment Enterprises, under the banner of which he was planning to own restaurants, entertainment business, and real estate. His long-term ambition, however, was to become the President of United States of America. The younger brother, Eric Menendez, had just hired the most expensive tennis coach in US, and he was practicing for over 10 hours a day to become a pro tennis champion. His long-term ambition, however, was to serve as a senator under his elder brother. Ambitious, passionate, affectionate, amazing, right? Rewind by 6 months. One evening, these 2 brothers gave a call to 911, the US Police Service, saying they had just returned from watching a movie and they found their parents dead in their house. Further investigation led to the fact that it was these 2 brothers who had murdered their parents by shooting them 15 times from a short distance. In the court, they confessed that their father was constantly abusing them verbally and physically. Their mother never protected them from their father, and all of this dented their self-esteem and shattered their life. When they could bear it no longer, they took the ghastly step of murdering their parents. There was another similar story, a person who went through similar fate, one girl who was born in 1954 to a single black teenage mother. She grew up in total poverty, went to school barefoot and with torn clothes. As a result, she was constantly ridiculed and abused. And when she was 14 years of age, she was raped by her own family members. She became pregnant and delivered a kid that was dead by the time the kid came out. All of these turmoils she went through, but her focus on studies never wavered. She earned her degree from the Tennessee State University, a degree in communication, and she began applying for the job of a news anchor. Every single place she was rejected, saying, "You have the necessary skills, but you don't look good enough to be a news anchor." Imagine, my dear friends, being told you don't look good enough, and that's the only reason for which we are rejecting you. She didn't break down. She knocked door after door, and finally, in 1984, she got her major breakthrough when she got a chance to anchor her own talk show called The Oprah Winfrey Show. And Oprah Winfrey, please, for her. The Oprah Winfrey Show ran successfully for 25 long years as the most viewed talk show in the world, and she ended up becoming a billionaire, launching her own television network, radio shows, magazine, clothing line, a venture capital, and she even created a foundation named the Oprah Winfrey Foundation, which spends millions of dollars each year on charity. Now, the Menendez brothers and Oprah Winfrey, one sec, where do I point this? Wherever I point it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so, there, okay. So, both these people, Oprah Winfrey and the Menendez brothers, went through similar fate, but the stories they told themselves were very different, and their story ended up shaping their life. I have yet another more powerful story for you. Ben Underwood. Ben Underwood was born in US in 1992, and when he was just 2 years of age, he developed cervical cancer, and the doctor gave his mother two choices. You can put your son through intense chemotherapy, which can possibly kill him, or you can remove his eyes and he will get to live longer, but without his vision. Like any mother, she chose the latter, and when Ben was just 3 years of age, his eyes were removed. Imagine waking up in the operation theater as a 3-year-old and realizing you can't see the world anymore. Ben cried out aloud, screaming, "Mom, I can't see." Any other mother would have broken down crying with him, but not Ben's mother. She held his hands tight and she said, "No, Ben, you can see." "No, Ben, you can see," she said. And then she asked him, "Ben, do you hear me?" Ben said, "Yes, Mama, I hear you." And then she said, "Ben, you can see with your ears." She put her hands in front of Ben's nose and she said, "Ben, do you recognize Mama's smell?" When he said yes, she said, "You can see with your nose." She took his tiny hands, made him feel her face, and she said, "Do you recognize my face?" When he said yes, she said, "Then you can see with your hands." The story that she gave him was, you can see however you want, but not seeing is not an option. As a result, when Ben was, please. As a result, when Ben was just 5 years of age, he mastered a skill called echolocation, which the dolphins and bats use to navigate. He will create a clicking noise, and with the echo, he will accurately judge the distance of the object in front of him. And he mastered this art so much that he could even recognize accurately what object was kept in front of him. Countless researchers showed up. Every single time the accuracy rate was 100%. Ben never confined his life to a room. Ben was a pro in basketball, football, rollerblades, and cycling. He lived a life richer than yours and mine for 17 years, after which he succumbed to cervical cancer. Friends, if your life becomes your story, then all of these people should have become similar stories. Only because your story becomes your life, all of these people became different lives. So the first question I have for you today is, what is your story? That is going to decide what your life is going to be. So please get your story right. Can you change the slide for me? Thank you. The second paradigm shift, seek self-esteem in efforts, not in results. Special provision applies to all you people awaiting your results. Seek self-esteem in efforts, not in results. Why? These two people here have their own unique stories. First, Dr. Spencer Silver was a scientist at an adhesive company, a company which manufactures gum. They were working day and night to create the world's strongest adhesive. Dr. Spencer Silver always thinks out of the box, and his out of the box led to inventing the world's weakest adhesive. An accident, but it was a happy accident. 10 years later, that was the product they patented as Post-it, or your favorite sticky notes now. Pepsi, however, wasn't as lucky. In the year 1992, Pepsi launched a massive ad campaign, more massive than your cultural's ad campaign, in Philippines with the intention of capturing the Philippines market. Coca-Cola was the dominant person back then, so they launched this ad campaign named Pepsi Number Fever. Pepsi Number Fever. The campaign was such that every crown or the cap of a Pepsi bottle will have 3 numbers. At the end of the campaign, Pepsi would announce one number as the winner, and the 2 people having that numbered caps will get 50,000 pesos each. Pesos was the Philippines currency. Now, this advertisement was a super success. It spread like wildfire all across the 7,641 islands of Philippines. There were cases where a maid was arrested for stealing Pepsi crowns from her boss's house. There was a case where 2 Pepsi salesmen were murdered over an argument about Pepsi crowns. The monthly sales of Pepsi shot from $10 million to $15 million. Their market share went up from 19% to 25%. So the ad campaign was a super success until they announced the results. On 25th May 1992, they announced the result on national television that the number 349 is declared as a winner. And guess what? It was not 2 people that showed up with this number, it was 8 lakh people. One small technical error. From last year's, we copy paste and we forget to change the year, no? Like that, 1349 went wrong. 8 lakh people showed up. Pepsi went on national television announcing that there was a minor glitch and that they will not be able to pay 50,000 pesos to each person, but as a gesture of goodwill, they will pay 500 pesos to each person. Riots broke, Pepsi trucks were burnt, few people lost their lives, 680 civil cases and 5,200 criminal cases were filed on Pepsi. It took them 14 long years to clear these cases, and what was supposed to be a $2 million campaign ended up becoming a $10 million campaign. The result of which was bringing Pepsi's market share back to 0. Now, in both these cases, their efforts were genuine, absolutely genuine, but the results were very different because your result is always shaped by countless other circumstances. That's how life works. And ICAI believes in preparing you for life, which is why you expect a 50, you get a 39, you expect a 35, you get a 60. Results are always shaped by forces beyond your control, which is why you need to always attach your self-esteem to your efforts. Here is a CA story. CA Shaili Chowdhury passed her 12th standard from a government school in Delhi with just 67%. Yeah, she was not a 90% scorer and all, 67%. Passed her foundation in first attempt. IPCC first group took her 4 attempts. Second group took her 5 attempts. She then went to CA final. First attempt failed. Second attempt, she scored an All India rank 1. I genuinely pray and wish that each one of you awaiting your results pass with flying colors. That is my fond hope. I'm awaiting those happy calls from you. If at all things don't go your way, I want you to pause and ask yourself if Shaili Chowdhury, during one of those countless failures, had told herself, maybe I'm not intelligent enough, maybe I don't deserve this, maybe this is not the course meant for me, then that miracle called All India rank 1 would have never happened. So please do not attach your self-esteem to your results. Always attach them to your efforts. A stronger case in point, these are the timings of 2 marathons which happened in United States of America. The first marathon, the New York City Marathon, where an Italian runner named Gianni Poli crossed the finish line in just 2 hours 11 minutes. The last place was a man named Bob Wayland, who crossed in 98 hours. 98 hours. Second race, fast forward 2003, Los Angeles, another Kenyan runner named Frank Yetich crossed the finish line in just 2 hours 10 minutes. Again, that same man who came last place in that marathon, he ran this and crossed it in 173 hours. In both these races, the winners changed, but the loser remained the same. Do you agree with me? Yes? No? Yes or no? Loudly? Yes? Before you judge him as a loser, there is something that you need to know about Bob Wayland. Bob Wayland was a soldier in the US Army, and during an army rescue operation in Vietnam, he stepped on a bomb and he lost both his legs. He ran. Lakshmana Rasu, you are disturbing my slide changer. And Bob Wayland ran both these races not on his legs but on his hands. And when he ran, please for him. And when he ran the second marathon, he was 57 years old. In other words, he was the goat of all boomers in your lingo, absolute savage, right? Now, if you had judged him with results, he is an absolute loser. If you judge him by efforts, he's an absolute winner. Now, I want you to introspect on one absolutely profound thing here. You applauded for him. You changed your perspective from he is a loser to he is a winner because you could see here that he doesn't have his 2 legs. But there are countless other challenges in here which people face, which you and I can never see. Behind every happy smile, there might be 1,000 sad stories. So do not judge people by results, not only when they do not have something here, but also give them the benefit that they might be missing something here. Never attach your self-esteem to your results. The third paradigm shift. Play the infinite game. Play the infinite game. Do not play the finite game. Play the infinite game. What is finite game? What is infinite game? Anything with a short-term objective where your goals are clear, the players who play the game are clear, and it has a destination, a fixed period, is a finite game. Your life is one infinite game. You do not know who your players are. You do not know what the purpose of life is. Despite all these challenges, why on earth should we play the confusing infinite game? Here's why. Our ex-defense minister, late Sri Manohar Parrikar, shared a beautiful story about his village named Mapusa in Goa. His village was once world famous for growing high-quality watermelons. Every once a year, they would hold a festival where watermelon eating competition was a part of that festival. Every farmer in Mapusa would pick the best of watermelons from their farm and donate it for the watermelon eating competition. Years rolled by. People began thinking selfishly, wrongly assuming that selfishness was the new intelligence. And they started thinking, why should I give the best of my produce to these people free of cost? I might as well sell it in the market for a premium, and I will give the smallest watermelons to these people. Thereafter, the quality of watermelons of Mapusa began declining steadily. It was not some God's curse from the sky, it was plain law of karma. Every year, the seeds that the contestants spat out was collected and used for sowing the next year. When people were giving the best of the watermelons, the best seeds got retained in the village and went into the soil as seeds. And when the quality of seed was good, the quality of the produce was equally good. Now all the good quality seeds had gone out of the village, and what remained were mediocre seeds. When those intelligent farmers' ancestors were playing the infinite game, Mapusa was winning year after year. When they began playing the finite game, there began their downfall. Thank you. One company which intelligently played the infinite game was Toyota. In 2000, they launched a car. Any idea what car that was? Any guess? Innova? No? Qualis. That was the boomer of Innova. Yeah, Qualis is the Gen Z. Now they launched Qualis in the year 2000, and in just 5 years, they sold 140,000 Qualis vehicles. A huge amount for that time period, and the greatest monthly sales ever was clocked in December 2004. Now they should have cut a cake and celebrated. Instead, what they did was, in January 2005, they killed that product called Qualis. Now, which company would be so dumb to kill their star product, right? But they played the infinite game. They realized that Qualis was giving them the image of being a taxi car company. And that will not allow them to penetrate into the luxury car market. So they ruthlessly killed Qualis, and as a result, in 2023, they sold over 220,000 cars in just 1 year. That was the result of playing the infinite game. Finite game could give you short-term profits. Infinite game will help you stay relevant for a lifetime. Finally, here's the goat of infinite games. In the year 2005, the then Pakistan President Pervez Musharraf was to pay a visit to Dr. Kalam at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The meeting was scheduled for 20 minutes. 3 days before the meeting, Dr. Kalam's secretary, Mr. P.M. Nair, a senior IAS officer, showed up to Dr. Kalam's office room with 10 other people, and he said, "Sir, 3 days from now, we have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Musharraf. He is sure to raise some very sensitive questions on Kashmir, and whatever response you give will make it to the headlines worldwide. So these people have prepared a list of questions that we can expect from Mr. Musharraf, and they will train you on what answers you should give." Mr. Nair considered this absolutely important because Dr. Kalam was not a political president, he was a scientist president. But Dr. Kalam appeared unusually happy, and with one naughty smile, he said, "Don't worry, Mr. Nair, I have already prepared." Mr. Nair wasn't convinced at all. He said, "But sir, our country's reputation is at stake." Dr. Kalam looked at him and asked him very seriously, "Mr. Nair, don't you believe me?" That was Dr. Kalam's way of saying, "I, YK, YK." And Mr. Nair couldn't talk any further. He said, "Okay," went out. He still wasn't convinced at all. And the day came. Mr. Musharraf arrived with his men, red carpet welcome, taken in. Now all these high-profile meetings will happen on dot. Not a minute delay, not a minute early. Taken into a hall, served refreshments, all that "I love you, you love me too" and all that happened. 5 minutes over, 15 minutes remaining. Before Mr. Musharraf could ask his first question, Dr. Kalam asked him a question, Mr. Musharraf, there are many villages in Pakistan just as there is in India. I have a scheme for developing those villages called the PURA scheme. Would you be interested in knowing about it? Now you call someone as a guest, you ask them, I want to tell you something, are you interested? Whether they are interested or not, they have to say yes, right? So Mr. Musharraf said, yes, sir. Dr. Kalam walked over, took a remote, pressed a button, a screen came down, and a video about the PURA scheme began playing. It played and played and played for 15 long minutes. The meeting time, 20 minutes was over. Mr. Musharraf had the time to do only one thing. He stood up, shook hands with Dr. Kalam and said, sir, India is lucky to have a scientist president like you. And one of the most savage press meets I have seen, Musharraf came out, the press pounced on him saying, what did you ask? What did he say? And Mr. Musharraf said with one cold face, he showed me a video. It was nice. You should see it too. Now, while the teams on both sides were fighting how to defeat the other team, while they were playing the finite game, here was a man who played the infinite game, thinking, I will not lose to you. I will not make you lose to me. That's how we play an infinite game. With that, my last paradigm shift, move from thinking I need power to understanding that love is enough. A psychologist named Harry Hallow conducted an interesting experiment called the surrogate mother experiment. In a huge cage, he put some baby monkeys. In one end of the cage, there was a wired monkey on which every now and then they will place food items, a milk bottle, and so on. On the other side, there was a woolen monkey, which will have no food or anything, but when hugged, it will give warmth. And the psychologists were amazed to see that every single baby monkey was spending much of its time with the woolen monkey. Whenever they felt hungry, they would tiptoe to the wired monkey, take food, and come back to the woolen monkey. From monkeys to Homo sapiens, what we need more, the most, is love and not power. One of my favorite men in this world, Don Taylor Ritchie. Don Taylor Ritchie is a very ordinary man who wanted to spend his retirement in solitude amidst nature. So he bought a tiny plot of land on a cliff, constructed a house with a beautiful garden, and he spent much of his leisure time out there gardening. One day, when he was attending to his plants, he saw a young girl stand on the edge of a cliff. He dropped his gardening tools and rushed towards her. Hearing somebody approaching her, she turned back and saw, and there he was, Don Taylor Ritchie. She expected him to do what any normal person will do in that situation, beg her not to kill herself. But Don Taylor Ritchie was a totally different person. He looked at her and said with so much warmth, young lady, how about a cup of coffee with me before you die? Imagine you are annoyed, frustrated, angry, depressed, you are on the verge of killing your life, and someone comes and tells you, "Vaangla or coffee kudichittu appuram poi saagunga." How annoyed you will feel, no? She lashed out at Don Taylor Ritchie, left, right, and center. He stood there quietly listening to her. After she finished, again he would repeat the same sentence with the same smile and warmth. All I'm asking is one cup of coffee with me before you die. She will take off, land, again same sentence. Few rounds they went. Finally she realized this guy will not let me even die in peace. I might as well go and tick his coffee business and then come and do my dyeing business. They sat in the lawn, 2 mugs of steaming coffee. As they began sipping it, Don Taylor Ritchie looked straight into her eyes and asked, "If you would like to share what brought you here, I would love to know." She sensed the genuinity in Don Taylor Ritchie's voice and she began pouring out her woes. Don Taylor Ritchie listened so intently that for the first time in her entire long life, she felt listened to. Listening and hearing are 2 very different things. If you are sitting in this auditorium, you cannot help my voice entering your ears. That is hearing. Hearing plus attention equals listening. And being listened to is therapy half done right. As she poured her woes, as he listened, she felt her bitterness slowly leaving her body. And as the Coffee Day tagline goes, anything can happen over a cup of coffee. When their coffee mugs were empty, so was her bitterness. She changed her decision of committing suicide, went back to lead a normal life. Years rolled by. Countless more people came to the cliff. Different age, gender, race, religion. Everywhere the approach was the same. Countless mugs of coffee. And in his lifetime, Don Taylor Ritchie had saved over 600 people. He was not a scientist who invented a drug for cancer. He wasn't a psychologist who gave them therapy sessions. He was an ordinary man like you and me who understood the profound wisdom that love is enough. Now, if you are wondering, love may be enough to touch a few people's hearts, but what about winning in life? Is it not important? Shouldn't I be ruthless to win? Well, I have one last story for you, but I don't have a slide for that because the slide is standing in front of you. It is a story of you and me. Since yesterday, countless stalwarts have climbed up the stage. They either had the power to do and undo things, or they had a long list of accomplishments they can boast of. I have neither of the two because I'm not a traveler traveling on the path of success. I am a hopeless wanderer on the shores of love. But every now and then, I've managed to pick a pebble, and it is 4 pebbles from that shore of love that I've shared with you. I'm nothing but a simple farmer who knows only to sow and reap love. Anbai விதைத்து பேரன்பை அறுவடை செய்ய முயலும் ஒரு சாதாரண விவசாயி நான். Thank you. It is your love for me that has given me this stage. It is your love for me that has given me your 100% attention, and it is your love for me that has made me who I am today. Maybe, after all, Charlie Chaplin was right when he said, "You need power only when you want to do something harmful. Otherwise, love is enough to get everything done." Out of my immense love for you, I would like to leave you with these words. Your true success will be measured not by the millions you make, the Porsche cars you drive, or the plush bungalows you live in. Your true success will be measured by the number of people who smile when they think of you, by the number of hearts you touch, and the number of lives you transform. Thank you so much. Love you all. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Truly humbled. Thank you so much. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What a moment this is to witness a standing ovation in this stadium. Thank you, sir. Your speech was savage. You truly are a goat.
We request CA R. Harish to present a memento to our speaker, CA Sandip Sabhavati. Our heartfelt gratitude for the session coordinator for making this a truly inspiring session. Thank you, bros, for your kind attention and involvement.